Hey, everybody, welcome. It's so great to have you tune us in and turn us on. Thank you so much for all of that. I just want to give a shout out to Dr. Patty O'Bear, if I could, for a minute. I don't know if you guys watched her show yesterday, but the live views of her show were, how should I put it, through the roof. And if you haven't had a chance to do that, please listen to that show in light of what's going on in the United States. Please do that. The other thing you heard me mention was that I got my nieces out there on the street uh, protesting with many of the other people. And so I wanted to say that they are okay and that they are out there and doing what we have done as kids growing up, overcoming adversity, standing up for what we believe in, and helping other people do the same. You know, one of the things I love to talk about, and I want to welcome everybody here, is I want to welcome you so that you understand that each of us stands on the shoulders of those who have come before. And what I mean by that is, look, I'm only as good as the person that has helped me yesterday and how I've been able to help myself. Today, I want to introduce you to somebody that knows a lot about that. Joining me here today is Milton Holmes II. Now,
How
look,
y'all doing?
cool. I mean, look I grew up in a football family. I can throw a football, I can catch a football, but my deficit is I cannot run. And so joining me here today is somebody that knows a lot about that, but more importantly, he knows a lot about human potential. Milton, it's great to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm telling you, I got a killer arm, but none of them wanted me out there on defense for sure. They're like, oh my gosh, you cannot run. Take up a sport where you don't have to run. So I did, table tennis.
Okay.
Thank you for joining me. Listen, I want to ask you, I can only imagine what it's like being you. I can only
Mhm.
imagine what it's like to play a sport that you're so passionate about, but also to be out in the world, that's working with young people. And that's
Right.
what you and I have in common. What is it about your life? What is it about the challenges you've had to overcome that brings you right here now to this very moment?
Basically with me, as far as working with young people, was that the question? Because I know for me personally, I have my dad in my life, like my best friend. So when he died before my senior year, it was just like an eye opener for me. And so I was like, I had a lot of friends who didn't have that luxury or that benefit of their parents being both parents, especially their father figure. Young men need a father figure in their life. They didn't have the luxury, and so some of them made it out, some of them went down the wrong road. So I was just vowed to myself, like, if I can help anybody, no matter my stature in the community, whether it be big or small, I'll do that. It just takes time to do that. So.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I shared a story. I've been doing this 16 years, with the Dr. Pat show, and I haven't
Mhm.
shared too much about my past. And I'd say up until about 5 years ago, I started to talk about
Right.
my upbringing. And I shared a story about being arrested at 19.
Mhm.
And the difference between me being here now and not being here now is having the support of people that could help me in front of a judge over a
Right.
complete misunderstanding. I'm one of the lucky ones, but we
Mhm.
aren't all lucky. What do you say to the youth of the world right now? How do we help lift them up?
Really, just definitely stay focused. It's a lot of distraction going on right now, but don't get caught up in the corruptness. Don't get caught up in the devil's tactics. Just stay focused. Do what your parents are telling you to do. Right, know like right from wrong, and just be loving. Just gotta love one another. Be there to support. No matter the race, no matter the sex, no matter anything. Just lift a helping hand. That's all we can do.
Yeah, I'm really curious about how you see your life today. One of the things that I've been looking at in myself is, and I know you've had to look at this as well. When we're working with the media, we're working with people that are helping us get our message out there. We
Right.
always get asked questions. We get asked questions about who are we?
Right.
Who are you, Pat? And, who are you, Milton? Tell me about what has helped shape the man that we are looking at today.
Honestly, it just be my faith with God. I've been instilling this since I was a kid. Going to church all the time. It's weird though, because when you're a kid, you're like, oh, I gotta go to church again. Oh, I gotta wake up early. You don't want to wake up, especially playing video games, being out late at night on Saturdays. You got to get up. But little did I know that it was actually grooming me for my future to actually be successful. Whether that's on the field, off the field, business virtue, stuff like that. Uh, so everything I do, because life's not gonna be easy. So it's funny because I actually had I wouldn't say an argument or a debate. I was on Twitter like about a few days ago, and people were asking, what's the point of praying for the enemy? So my answer back was the end result, of course, is heaven. So I said that, and as he tried to like debate saying God is real and God is not. So me, I'm a very I listen to other people's views, things like that. I'm not gonna judge people. I'm non-biased. So I simply told him, I said, well, look, man, whatever works for you, hey, that works for you. But my 24 years of living, I believe in God and Jesus Christ, and it's got me thus far, so I'm not gonna stop. And then I said, lastly, I'd rather go through life thinking that they believing there is a God and there's Jesus Christ than at the end of the day finding out it's not, rather than going through life not believing, and when you do die, you find out it is. So
Yeah, I kind of was raised the same way. And I made those choices in my life to decide what I was going to believe and what I was not going to believe.
right,
I want to ask you this question. I mean, I had challenges growing up. People had challenges growing up. I grew up in the projects in the Bronx, and
right,
I knew what those challenges were. I knew what it was like to walk out on a day and not sure if you were going to make it home alive. I mean, I know
definitely.
that. But even with that, I think the
Mhm.
youth of today have a more difficult time. And I wanted you to talk about this. What are you seeing in the young people you're working with? And, what are you telling them to move past what's in front of them?
Right.
What is on their radar right now?
I definitely feel so. I can definitely relate to this because I work with a lot of kids who are athletes, like high school athletes still, and like I honestly told them, social media is gonna be this generation's biggest downfall because everybody feels they have to post something to be heard or to be felt or to be seen, and I told them that's not always the case. Because as an athlete, kind of like how they tell people you chose this life, it didn't choose you. Well, whether it did or not, I tell them being an athlete, you have a bigger target on your back because let's say you get some trouble, they're not gonna say this person's name. Like if I get in trouble, they're not gonna say Milton Holmes. They'll say Milton Holmes, a football player from this or this team's football player, whatnot like that, right? So I tell them you just have to stay focused on the craft. Uh, don't worry about what's going on in the present tense. Worry about your future. Because people are there telling me that they wanted to voice their opinion about this protesting stuff going on. I said, hey, I 100% agree with you. But as a high school athlete, as a young kid, young adult, you have to know that that's not a great decision for your future right now because you have coaches who are in hold of your future, as in give you scholarship money, uh, offer you places you come to school, or not even going to school at all. So it's great. They definitely go out support, but you don't have to say, be all pick a side, things like that. Just voice your opinion. Because sometimes you just have to take action rather than just get on social media and make a post. Everything doesn't have to be seen. So like your support doesn't have to be seen to know that you're supporting or not. That's all I should say.
Yeah, I think that's you nailed one of the greatest challenges we have right now. And here's the way I hear it from a couple of the young folks I work with, right? What
Right.
they say is, look, I know what I believe inside. I know what I want to do. I know what it means to stand for something.
Correct.
But the flip side of that is I know that if I'm caught in the wrong camera shot or I'm caught here, I'm caught there, right? How it could affect me for the rest of my life. It's a
Definitely.
very tough place right now for, I
Definitely.
think, young people to be. Very tough place. But yet at the same time, you know what it's like to be a tough place, don't you?
Yes, most definitely, most definitely. Especially where I grew up at. I'm from this. We have like a neighborhood called Acres Home. It's not one of the best neighborhoods. A lot of people, a lot of my friends, we have fortunately made it out. We're doing successful things in life, things like that. Also, after I was like 4 years old, moved to an area called Greens Point. The tourist in Houston is called Guns Point because like it's a lot of shooting going on, a lot of killing going on, a lot of stealing, robbing, a lot of bad things going on. and I kind of much like just lived there till like all the way through college and things like that. Um, it is. I just say I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed to have been able to get out there and like go to college and see things and have great experiences and network with a lot of great people. Uh, it really just opens your eyes that it's more to the world than just the street you're on or just the hood you claim and things like that. So I really feel like people just need to be such not so much closed minded and worry about expanding out because at the end of the day, I tell people you can have like your friends and have best friends and stuff, but what are you gonna do for yourself? You can't ride somebody's coattail for the rest of your life. And if you
Yeah.
do, it's not gonna last long.
Yeah. I want to ask you this when we come back from break. I want to talk to you about, your vision for the world. What gets you up every day? What's your why? What
Right.
makes you excited about the world you live in today and what you can do to help others?
Right.
For those of you out there, Milton Holmes joining me here today, NFL free agent, and a whole lot more. When we come back, we're going to get his insight on the future, the vision, physical health, mental health, and what you can do to really branch out and be absolutely amazing in this world. He's taken it on. He's helping many, 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 many people through hardships. And some days, you just need somebody to help push you up. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back with me, Dr. Pat, and Milton. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's so great to have Milton Holmes II. Milton Holmes, yeah. Milton is here. Look, I love this. Benny, like how big of a football fan I am, right?
Yeah, just a little bit. We've had some previous guests on our show to prove it.
Pretty good guests on our show, yeah. And it's one of those things that I'm from the East Coast, but I moved out here. So anytime there's like an East Coast team that's involved in something and a
Right.
Seattle team that's involved in something, like me living close to Philadelphia, so that wasn't a good thing back a couple of years ago. But we live in a community that really looks beyond the athlete. We have outstanding athletes here, outstanding athletes that do more. That's what Milton is about. You can say Milton Holmes, yeah, NFL free agent, or you could say Milton Holmes knows more than teamwork, knows about what it means to look at youth, help them get to the level of their lives they want to go. And so here's what we're talking about today. You need to be a whole person. You don't need to trade off who you are, but you need to be a whole person. You need to move beyond whatever abuse you've gone through as a kid. Because what Milton is doing is he is focusing on how to help those through hardship. Young, older, everything in between. Milton, it's so good to have you here.
Yes, man. I'm glad to be here.
There's a couple pictures that are circulating of me and Jessica right now. And we participated in a music video about love with Tata Prince.
Okay.
And it's John Legend and Tata Prince did that. And so there's a bunch of pictures circulating of us now down there. And when I look at those pictures, I think about what shaped me as a human being.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm really starting to reflect on it. Maybe I'm getting older and I'm just like, dude, like, what's your life about?
Mm-hmm.
But what shaped you? What shaped you so that you are so passionate about helping others? Besides you and I sharing a God,
Yeah.
why do you think it's so important to help our youth?
What shaped me, just basically kind of like being not even, I wouldn't say, a lot of times you hear people say they want to be they're a product of their environment. I try to make my environment a product of me. So saying that, a lot of people where I'm from, they really don't, like I told you earlier, they don't really get out. They don't really expand. They just stay there. They stay solid. Like they're not even nomads. They just stay there. Some people I know, some old, like not old people, like the elderly, they haven't been on the other side of Houston their whole life. So just hearing that is like, man, like I can't limit myself. So I have to try my best to get out there and then coming back and be able to my share my opportunities with other people, things like that.
Yeah.
Especially now that I have a son, he's about to turn 2 later on this month. So
Wow.
so every time I wake up, it's like, okay, he's doing this for him now. I get excited, like, okay, what can I do now to make sure that his future is better than mine? What can I do now to make sure he can do this that I didn't get to do? Things like that. And my dad always told me that. He said my dad was trying to do it better than his dad, was to do better than him, and so forth and so on. To keep it going, just keep paying it forward, basically. So
That's a big responsibility.
Definitely. And I love it though. Sometimes the toughest task makes stronger soldiers. So it's like, I love it.
It's interesting because I really picking up on what you said. There are some people in the world that think about their lives. I'm a kid from the Bronx. There's no question about it, where I grew up. But I never was resentful about my life.
Right.
There's something to be said about growing up in a place that has such strong community, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I too didn't see my world beyond there. I really didn't. I never saw myself moving out. The only reason we left New York was because my 2 sisters joined a Puerto Rican gang, and one of my sisters became the head of the gang and got in trouble, and my mother had to pick us up and get us out of New York. That's how we went from New York to Plainfield, New Jersey, right?
Okay.
But I never thought to myself, is there going to be another life beyond this?
Mm-hmm.
You're being that person that will help people see a vision for themselves that they could not see alone. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, ma'am. No, I know exactly what you mean, because it's kind of like sometimes you just need that one person is in your ear telling you it'll be okay, it'll be fine, even if things don't look like it's not gonna rain forever. The sun is gonna shine. I feel like we all need that person now. I feel like not just the youth, not just kids, not just older people. I feel like everybody, no matter what form of facet it comes in, as long as you just have something, whether it be reading a text message, phone call, FaceTime call, Zoom meeting, or just a simple scripture, whatever it may be. Sometimes you just see it, just ready to see it and have it like having your head so you can manifest it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we're talking about a mustard seed now, and so look, I work with women, a couple of men, but I work with women in the addiction and recovery community. And, that for me, and watching the struggle now of people that are in recovery programs just not making it right now. Their fear and what's come up in their lives, and watching some of these young folks that were on track to recovery just not be able to hold on.
Right.
I think that's one of our greatest challenges for our youth today.
Definitely. It's like temptation. I feel like it's hard. You hear about temptation like in the past, but I feel like now it's so more easily accessible. Whether it be with drugs, alcohol, porn, fornication, whatever, fornicating, it doesn't matter, because it's just the ease of access. Even weapons, little kids out here buying guns like 10 years old, getting guns 10 years old. Same thing with drugs. But like us, like you both say, you just have to have somebody in your corner that's gonna trust in you, that's gonna believe in you, that's gonna be able to help you when you stumble and pick you up when you fall. Because without that, it's like, well, nobody cares about me, so I'm gonna do anyway.
Yeah. I want to ask you about something that we don't talk about enough, especially for our youth. I think we're looking at body, mind, and spirit, but so often we forget the body. And to make sure that we are fit in what we're doing. I mean, you are a football player, so there's a whole different language about that. There's a whole different thing you've learned early on to take good care of yourself. What are you telling the young people or the people you're working with? What are you telling them about how to care for their bodies, how to care for their minds?
I'm telling them all the time, especially in the Black community, like especially in the poor areas in the Black community, we don't read enough. We don't read books enough. So I tell them all the time, get a book. I don't care if it's a comic book or if it's a novel book or a picture book, or even a sports book like a First Illustrated. just read. Because there's so much in there that can actually help you in the future that you don't know. Like, you might not need it then, but later on, you recall in your brain, and you'll be like, hey, I remember seeing that somewhere. And you were like, even myself, like I was growing up, I watched How to Be a Millionaire, or I watched, I'm like an old soul, so I watched that, Gangster Network, with like match games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I know the answers to stuff because I was inquisitive as a kid, so I would just look and read stuff, you know what I mean, just dipping and dabbing. So it actually helped me in the future. And as far as physical health, when I was a kid, we had video games, of course, but we were outside almost, especially on weekends, like 11 o'clock in the morning to like 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night. You had to come in. The only time I came in, I probably eat like once, twice a day, you know. And I tell them, like, being stuck in video games all day, yeah, it's fun, but still, you have to get out. You have to experience life. Because at the end of the day, especially if you want to be an athlete, you can't work on your craft doing your video game all day because you have to focus on reality. You know, at the end of the day, it's just video game.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I grew up like you. I grew up where, you know, I had parents that were like, you people, you get outside. You know, even on the streets in New York, it was like, get outside, do something, play stickball. You know, climb out somewhere. I'm a great stickball player, by the way. Really, really good. Still can't run very fast, but right there, really, really good.
You hit it far enough, you'll be okay.
Huh?
If you hit it far enough, you'll be okay.
That's exactly my theory. Isn't that like, right, a metaphor for life though? But it's really about
Pat's one of the original Bronx Bombers, I believe.
I am, Benny.
We're gonna go with that one there,
totally.
Pat. We're gonna go with that one.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's the old manhole to manhole thing, right? Home plays second, home and second. But this is the thing that I really think is really at the core of what I'd like to see change. I think we have so many in front of a screen or a digital device. And I just wonder about how their bodies are going to develop and grow. And, you know, growing up in the streets, there's not a whole lot to do, especially if you're living in a neighborhood that doesn't, you know, allow that doesn't provide you that.
Right.
But boy, we've got to have hope, don't we? Because I think we've got to have hope, but we've got to have hope, but we also have to have help. You can't have one without the other. You know, what is it? Faith without works is dead. And so we need to do both. How do you see that happening for you as you move forward?
Basically, for me moving forward, like I said, like you said, having faith. I'm just following God's will. You know, I wake up every morning. First thing I do is pray, and I post my scripture on Twitter. And then after that, it's time to get active, time to make some moves, eat breakfast, get to working out. Even if it's making moves as far as just like, I help train kids, just working on some workout plans for them, working on some workout regimen. Then I work on myself next, and I go ahead work on my sons first, and work on some son's grade. He's eating, use the bathroom, things like that. I put him in my routine every day because I want him to start young because, you know, when I start young, he'll stay, just keep him on a straight path. And just me keep training and working out, and even though I know what the future holds, just trusting in God or whatever it may be. So that's why I get up and work out every day. Just like my phone might ring tomorrow, my ring after you got the phone right now, my ring on the phone right now. And I'm ready for whatever. If somebody says, hey, come in, you can come to camp right now. I'm there, I'm ready because I've been preparing, I've been putting in work and having faith. So you know it's gonna work. It's ironic because I literally told my friends this morning on a group message. I was telling movement without progress is just wasted motion. You know, and it's simple because it's like about a rocking horse. You know, rocking horse moves, doesn't go anywhere. It's a waste of motion.
Yeah. Look, so when we come back, here's what I'm going to talk about when we come back. You ready?
Yes, ma'am. I'm listening.
I've been dying to ask you this question. What is it like to be a super cornerback in the NFL? What is that like? What is it you see in your vision? How does it help you in your personal life develop that vision? What does that mean? What are the skills you learn, the intuition you must have? Because I'm watching our cornerbacks and I know that some of the stuff they're doing, they got a whole lot of psychic intuition stuff going on. But what is it that you learn from having a career in the NFL as a cornerback? What do you learn? What does it build? What's the character? What's the stamina? And what do you pass on? Let's take a short break, everybody. I'm not going to answer those questions. Milton Holmes is going to answer those questions. We'll be right back. I love that, Benny. That's a music video we did. That's so
I believe,
cool.
yes. And you made a cameo in the video online.
I
You
made
guys
a
can check it out.
cameo.
You did. And it was like at 1 minute and 30 seconds. If anybody else wants to go look and see Dr. Pat live on a
Yeah,
music video.
we all made these cameos in it.
Yeah.
I think Beyonce's parents got a little bit more time and maybe a couple of other people, but that wasn't the intent of the video. It was real, of course, John.
Of course, right.
Yeah.
Well, don't let them stop you, Pat. You can still do your own thing.
Here's what we're gonna do about it.
Yeah.
We have got like over 100 pictures and other videos, and we're gonna create a little video to keep the momentum to love one another moving forward. But that was one of the funnest things I've ever done in my life. And I could still dance. I could still, I got some moves. Not enough moves to move fast enough to play a sport or any of that. Hey, Milton, listen, it's good to have you here. How do people find out more about you, but how do they find out about what you're doing? I mean, clearly for me, you're becoming this role model. You're becoming this person that is speaking the voice of hope and speaking the voice of confidence, self-worth. How do people get to find out more about you? Facebook?
I'm on Facebook, but my most active social media handle that I am on is going to be Twitter. My Twitter will be moneyteam_Milto. So my name, but minus the N on it. And then on Instagram, it's going to be MGH_Deuce, DEUCE. Those are my two main go-to social media handles. I'm always tweeting. I'm always tweeting, and then also I'm on Instagram posting on my story. Might not put like an actual post, but on my story, I'm posting there frequently. So
All right, we're gonna help promote you on that. Deuce, did you say your name is Deuce?
Yes, Max. I'm the second. Yes,
oh my gosh! Now, Benny, right? We're gonna kick it back a little old school. Do you know who I got to be friends with, do an interview with? Actually, took me out to Philadelphia. Deuce Staley, running back, used to be a running back. And guess what? Here's me, right? I get him this T-shirt. I have no idea of the size of football players. I mean, okay, I have a sense, but no idea. So I get him this great T-shirt, right? And we take it to him. Holy cow, the guy is got the size of his neck was like the size of my T-shirt. And so so it's funny. We gave him the T-shirt, and he cut out the sleeves and he cut it out and he put it on. Right. But just like you, though, this was somebody from Columbia, South Carolina, was out there helping youth, created a foundation, wanted to do things to really help us all rise up. See, I think that's what we're here for, is to help each other rise up. I know I wouldn't be here without the angels in my life, right, at all. Definitely. I want to ask you this. We hear so much about football. Not always great. In Seattle, though, we hear a lot of great things about football because we don't ever badmouth our team here. Seahawks. I mean, that just doesn't happen. But I'm from the East Coast, and I understand the fans. I was a Philadelphia fan, a Giants fan, East Coast kind of stuff. But man, I can only imagine what it's like to be in that arena. What has football taught you? And when I think about cornerbacks, maybe we could talk about what that looks like for people that don't know. But when I think about that, I think about what it means to always have the vision, the insight, to always be on top of your game, to always have to be a step ahead, right?
Yes.
How does that shape who you are?
It shaped me out like a lot because, like I said, it started in high school. Without football, I wouldn't be who I am today. I mean, people try to say, "What do you?" I guess I'm more than an athlete, more than a football player. But if we're being honest, football kind of shaped my personality. being driven to reach my goals, my maturity, my loyalty, and also just being consistent and persistent. You know, because like I told you, after my dad died, this going in my senior year, my dad died. It was like I was going to give up, but I had my coaches, my teammates, and just my family were like, and then football was there. You know, football never left. No matter what happened in my life, football was always there. So it just really helped me to focus, stay on top of things, you know, and it's like my safe haven. So like things are going wrong, I'll just leave and go to a field and work out, or I'll just turn on some football games or watch some film, things like that, just to clear my mind and free my mind up, because it's like my favorite pastime. You know what I mean? It's just it's just like it gets you really very good, like mentally. It just builds you up, have mental toughness, especially on the field. So let's talk about the field, the actual game. It teaches you to have short term memory. So if you make a bad play, you
Yeah.
can't harp on it. You got to get okay. I messed up. Okay, so it's
Uh,
over with now. Don't harp on the past. It's over. What translates to life. Something bad happens in life. Okay, it's over. What can I do? Move forward. You know. Same thing. Have short term memory. We do make success. Get an interception. Make a great tackle. Make a good stop. Okay, made a good play. Celebrate. About what 15, 20 seconds. Get back on the sideline. Get ready for the next series, because next drive you still ride on the high from before. You get scored on. And I was like, dang. I got to catch back up. So you got to be humble. Got to have short term memory. And, lastly, I'd say just I can say persistent. Every time, even let's say as my position in the corner, you covering the guy all game, and they're either not throwing the passes the whole game, so you're getting bored, getting lazy, getting lackadaisical. Still stay focused, stay persistent, because you never know. End of the game, that one play comes your way. You either got to make it or you don't. You know, it could be a game changer. Like kind of like the Saints and the Vikings game 2 years ago with Stephon Diggs, the walk-off play, Miracle of the Meadowlands. People thought the game was over. It wasn't. Last year, same thing in New Orleans. The game was over. It wasn't. So, you know, you just got to stay focused, stay persistent, have a short memory, and just, you know, just really have faith.
yeah. I love what you're talking about, because anybody that's ever played a sport, right? That I love what you're talking about, because it's one of the greatest lessons we can learn. And I have found personally it's one of the hardest, right? You know, whether that's sports or something else that you love, where you're in the forefront, you're playing a game, let's just say. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't have that short-term memory that I love that term. If you don't have that short-term memory, you're carrying everything with you, the next one, the next one, and the next one,
Exactly.
right? I tell you what, this is so important to really share with the youth, because you hit it before. We're talking about social media, and we're talking about how addicted our youth are to social media, and adults. I just want to be really clear here. It isn't just about youth, it is
Right.
about every age, every generation. And they cannot master this short term memory. Do you know what I'm saying? It's
Yes.
like, if there is a post about something, that will stay with them, and they're
Yes.
in one of the most awful situations. It's not like you and me playing a sport where next point or next opportunity we can
Mm-hmm.
do something to change it.
Right.
How are you talking to young people about short-term memory and how they approach social media?
And how do I post? Basically, I'm saying them. Let's say let's take it back. Okay, so from experience, it wasn't me personally, but like I know a friend. They played on the big, like they went to like big schools, so they went to like one of the LSU's. No, it's a Power Five schools, right? Missed the pass, dropped the ball, lost the game. Fans went crazy. So you know, social media, he should be kicked. He should be benched. He do this and that. And but he's mentally tough. So he was like, you can't please everybody. You know, if they did their job 100% every time, then they'd be the CEO of their company, but they're not. So they're clearly messing up somewhere. And he said they think it's so easy, but how come they didn't come out here and do it? How come they're not on the field doing it? Or how come they didn't go to this school and do it as well? You know, so you just say you got to search your memory. At the end of the day, just work on it. You're not gonna be perfect. You're gonna have downfalls in life, but that makes the victories that much more sweeter. So I'll just tell
Yeah.
them every time when they're on social media, especially with what's going on, they do voice their opinion and people don't like it. You're not gonna please everybody. You know, if what you're saying is what you feel deep in your heart, and you feel it's right, say it. And don't have any regrets. Because when you have regrets, then that's when you start backtrack, and then you lose credibility for future things you might state on.
You know, look, I want to make sure everybody knows what you're planning for your future. And let's talk about you for a minute if we could.
Yes, ma'am.
I am so thrilled about the message you're bringing to the world. I really am so thrilled. We need this kind of leadership, right? What is this future for you, Mr. Holmes? What is your future looking forward? What do you see for yourself? How do you envision your next, dare I say it, move?
I got you. I like that one.
I had to do that. I'm sorry.
Yes, but no worries. So my next move, honestly, is waiting to this all this BS and thing. I won't say BS, but I say BS. I'm referring to Corona. All that dies down. Hopefully, we come to a great outcome with these protesting and this movement for the Black Lives Matter movement. Everything is justified the correct way. Then after that, hopefully CFL comes back, get these tryouts, workouts going, and then I'll be in the CFL by September. And if not, then hey, my next move is gonna be coaching. Just keep training the youth, to keep inspiring them. Because at the end of the day, it's bigger than me. You know, it's always bigger than self. And I feel like we have to attack each day like that. Like, not only what can we do to get ourselves better, what can we do to help others get better? Because we're a world, we're a community. We stand together. If we stand together, we'll be great. United we stand, divided we fall. So
yeah, the other day somebody was asking me how I felt about one of my role models passed away here 3 days ago. Okay. A man that taught me more about activism. Mm-hmm. I mean, I had a good start with my mom, my stepmom. Right. I mean, she was just crazy. She was just, I mean, I don't even quite understand what shaped her to be the woman she was. Well, I'll tell you what shaped her. She had her first child at 12, second child at 13, because she grew up in the Deep South, and that's what women did.
Yeah.
But that wasn't going to be her legacy, you see. Mm-hmm. And she taught all of us, died way too young, and taught all of us how to persevere, how never to give up. And that to me is one of the most important things I think you can help people with. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to just ask you about this because, when Larry Kramer died the other day, it was as if some people knew about who that man was. Some people didn't. But I grew up on the East Coast, and I know that man did more to save lives of people that have AIDS than all over the world, not just AIDS in this country, but AIDS all over the world. Okay. And we learned from him. We learned a new way. I want to ask you this question. How do we stand in our power? How do we do that in peace when sometimes we just don't want to? See, that level of discipline, I'm so glad I got. But, I've been known as a coach. When there's an unhappy play, I've been known to climb up the backstop playing softball. Mm-hmm. That was me a bunch of years ago, but I've mellowed out. How do we stand for what we believe in this day and age?
It's hard. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I know. I heard you take that deep breath right there.
Yeah, and me being young, it's hard for me still. I'm not perfect at it. I try. I mean, my biggest test right now is what's going on with George Floyd. It's so many ignorant statements I'm seeing on social media that you just wanna get into it. But my dad always taught me, if you argue with a fool from a distance, you can't tell what a fool is.
That's right.
So don't even waste your time with people like that. And then another thing is just that you can't change hearts. If that's what they feel in their heart, that's up to them and God. It's up to them and who they believe in. If you're not everybody believe in God, so it's up to them and who they believe in. And so just like at the end of the day, all you can do is pray for them. Pray for them and just keep doing what you're doing. Don't shy away from what you're doing. If anything, attack your harder. and then just hope that you would be heard. Just hope that their vision, that third eye, will be open on them. That they, okay, hold on, well maybe this is making sense, you know. And then just respect other people's opinions too. Respect them as much as you want to be respected, even though it might not seem like something you want to do. Just have to do it. So that's what Jesus would do at the end of the day. So.
You know, these are, I think for all of us, these are times we're living in right now. And I would be remiss not mentioning George Floyd. You know, I know for myself and the people that are here and out, we have captured the best of us and the worst of us. Right. But what we're really capturing in the world now, what the world is watching people come together. Yes. Now, earlier I mentioned to you, in Seattle, we had two really completely opposite events happen here a day or two ago.
Okay.
Yesterday, we had police in Seattle, I think it was Seattle. It was either Seattle or Tacoma and Portland kneeling, right?
Right.
Some of the sheriff's people kneeling with the protesters. On the other hand, in Seattle 2 days ago, we had a police officer literally with his knee on a protester's back of a protester's head. Now, let me say this. That protester in Seattle, as I tried to explain the demographic in Seattle, you know, I come from a very diverse neighborhood in the Bronx and my sister in Yonkers. Seattle is not quite that diverse. This was not a person of color that had his knee in the back of his neck.
Wow.
And I think this is where we are, where we have to make decisions about who we're going to become.
Yes,
don't you find that that is the challenge for today's youth? But they are finding an extraordinary voice right now that, you know, people that take surveys on this, Milton, people that take surveys on our youth, they have come out and said things like they are complacent, they don't care. I think we're getting a different view of people today. What do you think?
I feel like in some aspects that is definitely a valid statement about them being complacent and not caring, but then in other aspects that they are caring. They are taking initiative now. I'd say actually before this protest and things, I say it was fair to say that they were complacent, that they didn't care. It's simply because of you know, the voting turnout of the younger voters is going down tremendously. You know, but now I feel like it's like a wake up call. And it's ironic. I was telling someone the other day, I said, you know, they always say history repeats itself. The 1920s was a tough time, the Great Depression, things like that. And now some of the 2020s are a tough time, you know. But, you know, I always said revolution shall be televised, but it's not even that we're living in it now. Like you walk outside, you're seeing it, you know. So that's definitely a wake up call. And I feel like even, I know today at 3 o'clock, going to be one of the biggest, most organized protests here in Houston later on today. A lot of youth are going to be there from social media. There'll be Blackout Tuesday they've been doing. There's a lot of youth taking part in that, you know, and it might not be the traditional way like how it was back in the day or years ago, but that's the way now. And like you said, times change. So if times are going to change, your way of doing things has to change as well. So that's their way of taking initiative. So I salute it, you know.
You know, I remember growing up in this, and I'm a little bit older than you, not a whole lot though, I just want to say right there, but I'm just a little bit. And I grew up, and I was telling a friend of mine, and, you know, she said, Pat, you know, you were one of the people that was down at Atlantic City burning your bra. And I said, you know, we were doing a march of some kind every week. We were marching for women's rights. We were marching for civil rights. We were marching for gay rights. We were marching for so many things. Yes. And that was a way to express ourselves. And some folks said to me, Milton, they said to me, that is never going to happen again, Pat. You're living in an illusion. But I want to ask you this.
Right.
Are our youth hungry to express themselves?
They are. I just feel like they don't know how to channel it. They don't know how to express themselves the correct way. I feel like it's right now because like again, you're young. So when you're young, you just go off emotions. You don't go off logic. So I feel like they're just going off of emotions and the spur of the moment rather than logical thinking and what's gonna happen. Because I was talking like my dad was born in 1939, so he went. I heard all the stories. He was there. He was living through all of this, right? So the marching and protesting was a great start, of course. But then it's like I was talking to my aunt and them, his sisters and his younger nieces, and everybody's telling us marching and protesting got us this far, but now we have to do something else to go past that. Because
Yeah.
if not, it's gonna be a rotation of circular revolution. You have to make one we have to go a notch up. And they kept expressing to me, vote, vote, vote. And not just in these presidential elections, the midterm elections,
Across the board.
because that's what determines the district attorneys, your sheriffs, your judges, your governors, mayors, councilmen, representatives, senate. Because truly, I feel like they should let go of the electoral college, not to be too political. Because I seen the voting. Hillary Clinton won a popular vote, which is of the people, but the electoral college, Donald Trump won that. So I feel like, why are we voting for the president if our votes don't matter? Only the electoral college votes matter, which is our representatives in the Senate. So that's the most important election for us out of the whole community.
Yeah. By far, we need to do something different here. We certainly need to at least minimally stop the redistricting that's going on.
Yes.
But I want to say, first of all, thank you for taking time out of your super busy day for joining us here today.
No worries at all.
I want to ask you just one last question. Would you just tell folks how they're going to be able to find out about you? And then I just want to know what you want to leave us with your personal message. And by the way, I uploaded a picture over here on Zoom of that event. So how do people find out about you?
Like I said, Twitter, money team _Milto. And Instagram is gonna be MGH_Deuce. My Facebook is gonna be Milton Holmes II. And message I want to leave everybody with today is just simply just love everybody, just love one another. No matter what, just trust in your heart, love one another, and just treat others the way you want to be treated, whether it be a different sex, different race, different whatever. That's really it. Just be humble and set a goal in mind and achieve it.
I'm telling you, humility is going to be the cornerstone for how we come out the other side of this. And by the way, if you want to see that video, Love One Another, is that what you said? Go to YouTube and look up Love One Another, the video with John Legend and Tata Prince. Check that out. Thank you. Hey, look, I wish you the best. I hope you keep in touch with us and let us know about how we can continue to support you and what you're doing.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll tell you, everybody, this is what I love to do. This is why I love to do it. Thanks to people like Milton Holmes. Thank you so much for today, sir.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's take a short break, everybody. We're not done yet. We still got more talking to do. We'll be right back.